Hey, how's it going, everybody? Phlinger Phoo here, and today we're going to be discussing a little bit more of the stuff that is coming out in the next TLC patch, because I'm really anxious to get into this stuff. Or before last month, we covered some of the things that were going to be coming out in the TLC number 1 patch that had the creative mode and some of the new dinos, and, well, not really new dinos, but the modified dinos. Now, in this video, I'm going to be discussing some of the ones for the TLC patch number 2, or the TLC Pass number 2. And a lot of these dinos, they really needed it. But some of them, they went from being bad dinos to being not as bad dinos, are actually kind of good dinos. And then some of the dinos in this video, they went from being great dinos to being mind-blowing amazing. Yeah, it's really cool. All right, so let's hop into that and let's talk about this first one. Alright, now this first one is the Spinosaur. Now the Spino, it's always been kind of lacking. At least in my opinion, has been kind of lacking. Alright, now here let me read some of the stuff, because on my second monitor, I have the forum post open for the Community Crunch on Survive the Ark. Alright, so, and let me read a few things. This Quadrupeds Stance, or the Quadrupeds Stance of the Spinosaur has been hotly debated since it first joined and ever since. And that's really true. A lot of people, they always question the fact, why didn't a Spino walk on its back 2 legs? Because like in Jurassic Park and also throughout history, a lot of scientists have stated that was how the Spinosaurus actually walked. And in Ark, it ran on its all fours like Rover. So, yeah, it was always silly. At least to me it was. So, yeah, the fact that they changed it so where they can both walk on their back legs or walk like the Rover stance is really cool. And they did something even more amazing with that. Here, let me read some more. Those for the stance enjoyed its dog-like run, while those against felt like it was not true to the real-world version of the dino. With the TLC Pass, the Spinosaur will now be able to operate in both a bipedal and a quadrupedal stance. When on 2 legs, the Spino will move slower, but be able to bite and use its claws to do increased damage. While on 4 legs, it will be able to move faster, which makes it like the Iguanodon now. It's so cool. So when they're back up on their back legs, when they're all Jurassic Parking it out, they can do increased damage, they can bite, they can rend and tear with their claws. It's really cool. I'm really looking forward to that. And then when they're down on their all fours, they can run faster, just like the Iguanodon. I wonder if they'll have reduced stamina usage, just like the Iguanodon. That would be really cool. All right, and then here, due to their affinity to water, the Spino will receive a buff, which applies a bonus to movement speed, turning radius, attack damage, and health regen when fighting in the water. That's pretty dang cool. The fact that it increases their damage, increases their health regen, they get better movement speed and turning radius. These guys are going to be like one of the go-to water dinos if they can finally get rid of that part where when you get off the saddle when you're underwater, if they shoot straight to the top. Oh, I hope so. Oh, man. Yeah, that would that would be really insane. All right, so now let's get into and also it says that that buff will actually last for quite a while after exiting the water too, which will mean that with a Spino, if you can dip into the water and then come back out, you can use that buff out on the land to go and, terrorize your friends or, things in like the redwoods and stuff like that. That sounds pretty cool. I'm digging that. And then they will also prefer prime fish to taming over prime meat and have an increased chance of gathering prime fish meat. That is wicked awesome. Because right now, one of the best ways of gathering prime fish meat is with an ichthyornis or with fishing. Or a sickle on a salmon. Which a sickle on a salmon, it's not as reliable as the ichthyornis or, fishing. But fishing takes forever. And an ichthyornis, it really slows you down how fast you can gather that. But if you can just go through the rivers with a Spino, gathering as much prime fish meat as you can, that will speed things up dramatically, because gathering that stuff has always been a pain in the butt. Yeah, all right. But here, let's jump into the other picture that they showed, and I want to discuss another thing. Now, with the first picture, you didn't really notice it, but on this picture, it really stands out. The one on the right is the current Spino. That's the one we have now. The one on the left is the new Spino, the one that's kind of standing upright. Now, one of the things that I was kind of curious about is that as far up as it's going to stand? Because that's really not that high. Yeah. But another thing is the scales. Look at the one on the right. They look like real kind of rigid scales and just really rough scales, not like something that would be living in the water. Now, the one on the left has more of, say, like a modern day iguana type skin, which is like a leathery scaly skin, which is kind of what you would imagine a prehistoric dinosaur to look like, is to have that kind of skin. And the way on the one on the right, the way down the neck, it just looks kind of, yeah, it looks like it's not really supposed to be there. It looks like something out of a fantasy drawing. Now, the one on the left looks like one that would actually live in real life. And that one just looks insanely cool. I'm really looking forward to the Spino. This guy, yeah, before, I've never been a big Spino person, but with these changes, I might be a convert. Yeah, I might. I mean, these guys are pretty dang cool looking. All right, and then their abilities and everything like that. All right, so hey, let's jump into the next one. All right, now we're going to be discussing the Sarco. Now, what can be said about the Sarco as it is now? Well, it was always kind of the last-ditch kind of water mount that you could get. I mean, it's like the Sarco was always, hey, if you can't get better, this will do until you can get better. And that's the way the Sarco always has been. But with these new changes, I mean, not only do they look cool, I mean, they actually, I don't know, I mean, their abilities are pretty cool. They're more crocodile-like, which is kind of what they needed. All right, so here, let me read from their page. The Sarcosuchus. The Sarco has been an often requested creature to receive a TLC patch, one of the earlier creatures added to the game. Over time, it has become overshadowed by other predators. That's no joke. All right, on top of the visual update, the Sarco will also be receiving new abilities to better keep in line with the other carnivorous creatures on the ark, which it desperately needs. Holy crap. Yes. All right, so the attacks they get. The first one is going to be a grab and roll attack, the death roll, essentially. So they'll be able to grab onto smaller creatures and just roll with them and do just a ton of damage, which I'm really looking forward to those damage numbers, because if they're true to like a crocodile, yeah, a real-life crocodile, they will do insane amounts of damage, which I hope that's the case. I really do hope that's the case. And then also with larger creatures, it will grab on and spin aggressively, which should just tear out just a meaty chunk out of the dino, which should hopefully do a ton of damage, which I'm really looking forward to. All right, here, let's punch up another one of these pictures. All right, there we go. And this one right here really kind of showcases the changes that they're making to it, because the one on the right is the old Sarco, and the one on the left is the new Sarco, and the new Sarco looks incredibly cool. I mean, I really love it. I love how they actually got rid of those weird toothy protrusions from the front of their nose, which always just never really made any sense. What has teeth on their nose? Seriously. All right. I mean, horns, stuff like that, but teeth? Come on, let's get real. All right, so, and then some more of their abilities. They'll be able to 180-degree attack, where they can spin suddenly and attack something behind them, which is something the Sarco desperately needed. Their maneuverability is absolutely atrocious, but being able to just spin on the fly, oh man, that's going to be awesome. And then also they're going to be given a short lunge attack, where it'll be able to lunge forward to take its prey by surprise. Kind of like a modern day crocodile and alligator, where they'll come straight out of the water. They'll just lay in wait at the water's edge and then just jump out of the water and grab things. More like a kind of like what a Caprosuchus does, but a Caprosuchus, you know, they jump at you and, you know, they pull you off your mount and they make you have a really bad day. The Sarco is just going to jump out, grab you, and then roll. Which, oh my gosh, Sarcos, they're gonna take on a whole new level of nightmarish just awfulness, which I'm really looking forward to. Because come on, if you're playing in the land of dinosaurs, you want to be terrified. Come on, face it, you just want to. All right, I know I do. All right, so now we're going to talk about the last little. Let's see. Sarcos are natural deterrents for piranhas, making them valuable partners when traveling through waterways and swamps. The Sarco will also prefer fish meats over regular meat for taming, which is kind of the way it should have been. And when idle, and this is the best part. When idle, their mouth will rest open in a permanent toothy grin. That sounds kind of cool. That's given the Sarcos much more personality than they had before. Because before, they were just, hiding meat bags. But now, yeah, all right. I mean, if you needed meat and stuff like that, you go out, hit the side of a Sarco with a spear, and then just keep turning with it. And it'll never be able to do anything with you. Now, that's not the case. Or as soon as the patch comes out, that's not the case. These guys, they're going to be terrifying. I can't wait. Alright, now let's jump into the next one, and that is the Raptor. Oh my gosh, I hate Raptors. Alright, on my channel, anybody who knows any of my videos knows that I do not like Raptors. Alright, I call them stupid Raptors, and that's because, for the most part, they are vicious, and they'll jump out of the woodwork, and they'll come out of the trees when you're just starting the game, and they'll just eat you. And then when you move on to a new spot, forgetting your corpse, because if you go back to that one, you're going to get eaten as well, you find another one, and then it comes out and it eats you as well, and it just makes you have a bad day. And it seems like the new Raptors are going to be even worse, but worse in a good way, all right? So the new Raptors, while they also look really amazingly cool, it's the one on the left compared to the one on the right that we currently have. The ones on the left now, the new ones we're getting, they have more feathers on them. The definition is more defined. They just look a lot better. They do. The ones on the right, they kind of look like, well, a lot of work was put into them. You can tell a lot of work was put into the beginning Raptors, but it's just... The new ones, they just have that, that pop, that flair. The skin is better. The feathers are more pronounced. The scales are better. Everything just looks better on them. All right, now a couple things that they're giving them. First off, they're giving them a scout, or they're giving them a pack leader bonus. So where they'll have a pack bonus, kind of like direwolves and allosauruses, but not really. All right, but it's going to be ferocious regardless because Raptors, oh my gosh, stupid Raptors. All right, always got to come out of the woodwork at me. All right, so now with this pack boost, what it's going to give them is for 15 seconds when the leader does its little vocalization, the little chirp chirp thing, that sounds really guttural and nasally and stuff like that. Yeah, the dreadful sound that, when you level them up. Yeah, that one right there from Jurassic Park. Okay, when they make that noise, it's going to give their entire pack increased damage resistance, movement speed, and attack speed for 15 seconds with a 45-second cooldown. That's going to mean that while a pack is going through the woods, it can hunt down its prey, but the moment it finds its prey, pack leader does that little chirp chirp, and things just die. That's going to be insane. Wow. Yeah. All right. That's already making my skin crawl just a little bit. And then another thing that they're giving the Raptors is they're giving them a new pounce ability. And the pounce ability, it allows them to jump and pin down players and smaller creatures. Once pounced upon, the Raptor can use its bite attack to quickly kill its prey. Survivors on foot better be on the lookout for Raptors that may be stalking them through the trees. Oh my gosh. I really hope they change their AI so where Raptors will only take attacks of opportunity, so where they'll sit at the edge of, your distance, just watching you and moving alongside you. And then when you turn your back on them, bam, they're there. That would sound really cool. That would be an amazing addition to Raptors. Because Raptors coming out and just eating you right when you're looking at them, that really doesn't make much sense because they're opportunistic attackers. They're only going to attack when they know they're going to win. So yeah, just like, birds, stuff like that. Oh man, I really look forward to these changes. I hope they do a few more changes to add to it, like with the AI. And yeah, that would make Raptors just truly ferocious. Oh man, that would be so cool. All right, well let's talk about the next one. The next one, oh man, I can't wait to discuss this one. All right, now we're going to talk about one of my favorites, the Argentavis, or the Argentavis, however you want to pronounce it. To me, they're prehistoric turkey buzzards, which is what they exactly were. They were ones that feasted on corpses, stuff like that, and also were able to take small things and then make them dead. Yeah, which is, oh man. And the way they changed these guys, it looks so cool. The new one is the one on the left, and the old one is the one on the right. Now, the old one on the right still looks good, but the one on the left looks exactly the way you would picture a prehistoric turkey buzzard, which is, and if anybody doesn't know those things, those are massive wingspan, big, huge birds, and yeah, they're just insanely huge. And these ones right here, they're no different. And Argents, they've always been my favorite flyer. I mean, there's just something about them. They're just so good. I mean, if you can take Argents and you can breed them and assign them different roles, you can have just a fleet of Argents that does everything for you, other than pick up big dinos. I mean, they're really good. All right, now with the changes to the Argent, they're changing a few things. They're changing their they're changing the way the saddle that you put on them. It's going to have a weight reduction for obsidian and certain other materials. I don't think they've exactly decided on which materials it's going to be. They just say various other materials. I'm hoping it's stuff like metal and crystal, stuff that you would get from the really high altitudes where the Argentavises hang out at. That would be pretty dang cool. And then also, their saddles are going to have smithies in them. If an Argent wasn't amazing before, it just got so much better. Being able to craft stuff on an Argent saddle as you move, it just changes a lot of aspects about the game. It's going to make Argent even more of a rite of passage when you get up there and you can craft the saddle and you can go out and you can tame it and it becomes yours. And with me, I always have one called Super Dodo. And because it's just a big, huge dodo that I take everywhere with me. Super Dodo in my series is like one of my best friends because he goes everywhere with me. And I use them for everything. All right, now also, in addition to these changes, they're also giving it the ability to carry 2 additional passengers, one with its claws and one in its beak. So they can grab 2 different guys, and their beak is going to be able to pick up different things. I don't know, it just seems really, really cool. And they also say that the Argent will be carrying heavier than current creatures in its talons, while its beak will be able to support the weight of smaller creatures. That means that their claws, while they were able to pick up stuff like baryonyxes and stuff like that, they're even going to be able to pick up bigger stuff, which is amazing. And I hope that the size difference on these guys is going to be considerable. I mean, not really considerable, but bigger. Because the size they are now, yeah, they're big, but I don't know, adding a few feet onto them, it couldn't hurt. I mean, Argents, they're one of my favorite dinos in Ark, and they're just amazing. So I'm really looking forward to getting a bunch of the new Argents and breeding them, and then doing what I've done before and taking them and kind of specializing them into different roles. So where I have one that gathers metal, one that gathers crystal. I just have one that I go on gathering runs. I have one that I do, meat, so where I increase the damage, just straight damage. And then other ones where I want it kind of tanky and stuff like that. And then after they change the movement speed, you can't no longer have a fast Argent. So you can't do that anymore. But you can do, you can have just a whole fleet of Argents. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that. I'm looking forward mostly to seeing what kind of color patterns these guys have. Because if you mutate some of these guys, you could probably get some pretty interesting ones. Because the way that they have it in these pictures is the color pattern looks to be completely different. Now, before, I've always been kind of traditionally just painted mine. I never worried about mutating my Argent. But because I think that the paint jobs on the Argents, they do it justice. Because you can get some really intricate things. With me, I always go with the Spitfire paint job with the green, the little circles on the wings. Yeah, I love that look. But, I mean, if you can mutate these guys to get some really interesting color patterns and stuff on it, I'm really going to try. I'm really looking forward to these. So, hey, I think that's going to do it for this video. If you guys are looking forward to any new dinos and which dinos you're looking forward to, reply down in the comments down below. Let's get this conversation started because I'm really looking forward to all this stuff, and I'm really looking forward to being able to play with this stuff when it does come out. So hey, if you liked the video, click that like button. I really appreciate that. And until next time, this is Phlinger Phoo, and take it easy, everyone. I really am looking forward to this Argentavis. It looks so cool. All right, take it easy, everyone.